What's up, guys? Hey, it's Daniel Keaton with another Impact Real Estate podcast. I'm here with the amazing Katerina Wiley, team leader, broker here at Keaton & Company Real Estate. We're going to talk all things real estate, learn about her and her business. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to do this.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
Yes, it's awesome. So for folks that don't know you, give a little bit of background, how you came to get into real estate, like what led you to that. I know a little bit about your story, about your family's background, but for folks that don't know, lead us into that.
Yeah, so I grew up around the housing industry. My parents own a construction company, and right out of college, I started doing mortgages. I kind of wanted to do something that would allow me to be successful outside of them. I wanted to do it on my own, and I did that for 2.5 years, and it was going great. I think I was good at it, but I wanted more autonomy, and I wanted closer relationships with the clients and to be closer to the homes themselves. So actually, when I made the decision to get my real estate license, I had known so many realtors and team leaders because my whole job is being a loan officer, you have to know all of these people. And I went to see one person, that was Daniel, and I wanted to join his team, and he was completely on board from the get-go, thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to hire you when you came out of college, and I was a little frustrated when you became a loan officer.
You were
but
like
that's okay.
a month
I waited.
too late on the ask.
I waited a little bit. Well, that's cool. Okay, so tell folks, like being a loan officer, how did that help you become a better real estate broker, serving your clients, having that knowledge? I imagine having that knowledge sets you apart.
It did. It really built the foundation for me to get going a lot faster than I would have been able to without that. Because it's easy to look back and be like, what if I just gotten my real estate license a few years earlier?
Yeah.
But I think it built a really solid foundation for me to hit the ground running and then learn from you on this side of the business with the background knowledge of understanding the entire process outside of just what we do here. And I think it gave me a lot more credibility as a new agent.
Yeah, so when you're talking to clients about buying a house, I mean, can you have those deeper conversations about loan products? And I mean, I'm imagining that gives your clients more confidence in you when you can say, these are your different loan options. Hey, I'm also a mortgage officer. So how does that work?
It's definitely given me a little more clout to be able to talk about what people's options are, and then also helped us brainstorm and problem solve, because a client might be in front of me and say, this is what I want to do, but I don't think it's possible. And I really can say, well, all we have to do is configure it this way, and we should be able to make it work, which isn't knowledge that any realtor would have without some kind of background and learning about the mortgage process.
Yeah, interesting. Talk a little bit more about the differences, because maybe there's a loan officer that's thinking about becoming a real estate agent, or vice versa. Like, what are the differences that maybe your typical real estate professional doesn't know from a loan officer to a real estate agent? How are they different?
Yeah, that's a great question for someone who's been on both sides of the coin. They're both great careers for me, but I think you have a lot more regulatory concerns as a loan officer, which to me was prohibitive for wanting to build a team or start a branch. I kind of knew I never wanted to own a lending business, knowing what kind of regulations you had to make sure you were following. There's a lot of pressure there. That on the real estate side, now you're our broker owner, so that pressure exists for you, but in a very different way.
Sure, not as much.
It's not the same.
It's not the federal government.
Exactly. Like no one's coming in for an audit to in the same level that they would be as a lender. So it's a different kind of pressure, and also as a lender, you have to pay attention to every single little detail. And if you screw one thing up, I mean, the whole deal could be blown up because you mess something up. I think being a loan officer is mentally more difficult than being a real estate agent, but being a real estate agent is more taxing physically. Like you have to physically be in front of clients and visit houses and physically be places.
Driving around everywhere.
Exactly. A loan officer, you might be problem solving on a Saturday afternoon, but you're doing it on your laptop wherever you are.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so I imagine, like I said, that helps you with your clients. Have you been able to transfer some clients from being a loan officer to being a real estate agent? Like, did you call folks up and say, hey, now I have my real estate license?
It's very cool, actually, to have people that can be like, she used to be our loan officer, and now she's our real estate agent. It's really neat to have that opportunity. And there are people that I've been working with that long, or I think one of the benefits to staying in one industry for a long time, there are also people whose houses I'm selling that I helped them buy years ago,
Yeah,
or maybe
exactly.
did the mortgage on it
Yeah, yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. So you know their interest rate and what they have on it or what they owe, maybe.
I'm like, sorry, you have to give that up.
Yeah. But I mean, I've heard you say you feel like it's a more of a relational with real estate. I mean, right? You
That's
can go
very
deeper,
true.
personal.
As a loan officer, I was very intimate with people's tax returns.
Yeah,
Which
not a fun
is
thing
not,
necessarily.
yeah, and you have to be a very special kind of person to
Yeah.
enjoy that. And I was good at it at the time, but
Yeah.
I did miss the part of the relationship that I knew the real estate agent had with the client. And you do have a relationship, but it's so much more time with their tax returns and their bank statements. On this side of the business, you build much stronger relationships, and like my best clients have become my best friends, and my best friends have become my best
Yeah.
clients. And so, as a loan officer, the relationship side of the business is a lot more focused on your relationship with the real estate agent that you're
yeah.
serving, whereas as a realtor, the relationship is more about you and the client.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've kind of imagined that to be the case. So let's talk about your background and knowledge in building and construction. So your family has a history as a well-known construction company. So tell us a little bit about that, and how has that helped you serve your real estate clients better?
So I think growing up in a family that was constantly moving, kind of it sets you up to be kind of a weirdo, honestly. Like my attitude.
You mean moving, like selling a house, moving to another house because y'all just building?
My parents sold the house we were living in,
Yeah.
and they sold the house they were building for us, so we had to move into our rental while they built another house.
Yeah.
And things like that were always happening
Yeah, your
until I
mom
was in
told
high
me
school.
every house is always for sale.
Everything's for sale, not just house. Everything's
Not
for
necessarily
sale.
listed, but it's always
No,
for sale.
No, my parents are always like, everything's for sale at a price.
Yeah.
And that makes you kind of a weirdo when you grow up around that.
Yeah, you don't get too attached to the house. It's
No.
like, hey, give me the right price, I'll move to the next one.
So my first house out of college was a renovation. I bought it while I was a loan officer. I worked with one of the project managers at that company to do the top to bottom reno.
Yeah.
And then after a year or so in that house, I realized I had all this equity. And I was like, I think I have to sell it. And I loved the house.
I just gotta sell it. There's money in there.
Yeah, I had poured into this house and then was like, wait, like this is a financial move.
Yeah.
And so it became, I grew up around it, which probably set me up for this, but it became so obvious that homeownership is a wealth building tool. And I've been sad basically every single time I've sold a house. Like it's not that I don't get attached at all, but the financial foundation that you're building is so much more important than your emotions with this house.
So what tips would you give people in that regard, that maybe they're tied so closely to their house, but maybe they're looking at this tremendous equity? Like, what's helped you like make that decision? Hey, it's worth it to trade it and get this equity, trade up or whatever I'm going to do with it.
I think you have to think about what the dream might be. Like that's probably not your dream house. I was just lecturing one of my agents yesterday. I'm like, you don't build your dream house at 30 or 40. That's not. I mean, if you can afford your dream house at 40, you're either doing real good or you're not dreaming big enough, right? So really, each house like might be really special, and you have really special memories there. But that house is a thing. It's people or things, and that house is a thing. And leveraging that thing to build a bigger, better dream for your family is what's important.
Yeah.
So it's hard to let go of these houses sometimes, but you have to look towards what you're going to do with that equity when you cash out, and what steps you might be able to take. And you might not know specifically exactly where you're going to end up, but you know that it gets better and better from here as you build on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about your investing. So I know you wear many hats: broker, team leader, short-term investor, flipper. So, one thing that I believe that agents need to be doing to sustain in the long term of market shifts is to really be both an investor agent, right? So speak to that a little bit, and how being an agent has helped you become maybe a more savvy investor, and what advice would you give to folks looking to do that?
Well, definitely being immersed in this business lends itself to you being poised and ready to take advantage of good investments, because you do understand the numbers and you understand the process. It's not that it's never stressful, but it should be less daunting to you because you help other people do it all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be practicing that for yourself, because